What does it take to shatter prejudice in a single moment? In the heart of Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, where the hum of rolling suitcases and hurried footsteps never ceases, a storm was brewing at the Sky Elite Airlines counter. Dr. Amara Jenkins, a woman whose presence commanded respect, stood in the priority line. Her tailored suit and calm demeanor belied the fire in her chest, a fire stoked by years of navigating spaces where her skin color often spoke louder than her credentials. Amara, a 45-year-old black woman, was no stranger to scrutiny. As the chief regulator of the Federal Aviation Administration, she'd spent decades proving her worth in rooms where she was often the only one who looked like her. Today, she was heading to D.C. for a critical meeting on airline safety protocols. Her briefcase held documents that could reshape industry standards. But to the young attendant behind the counter, she was just another face in a line that was moving too slowly. The attendant, a wiry man named Greg with a pinched expression, scanned the line with impatience. His eyes landed on Amara, and something in his posture shifted a subtle tightening, a flicker of judgment. "Ma'am," he called out, his voice sharp, "this is the priority line. You need to move to the regular queue." The words cut through the terminal's noise, drawing eyes. Amara's brow furrowed, but she held her ground. "I'm in the right line," she said evenly, holding up her priority boarding pass. Greg's face reddened. Greg barely glanced at it. "I don't need to. Move now." His tone was final, laced with an authority he didn't fully own. The line froze, every eye on Amara. She could feel the weight of their stares, the unspoken assumptions that had followed her through countless airports, boardrooms, and city streets. She'd faced this before being dismissed, diminished, deemed out of place because of her skin. But today something snapped, not in anger, but in resolve. "Before you call security," Amara said, her voice rising just enough to carry, "you might want to know who I am." Greg scoffed, reaching for his radio. "I'm Dr. Amara Jenkins," she continued, her words slicing through his bravado. "Chief Regulator of the FAA. I oversee every airline in this country, including yours." The terminal seemed to hold its breath. Greg's hand froze on the radio, his eyes widening as the weight of her words sank in. The crowd stirred, whispers rippling like wildfire. "That's right," Amara said, stepping closer, her gaze unflinching. "I'm the one who decides whether your airline meets federal standards. So, tell me, do you still want me to step aside?" Greg's face drained of color. His mouth opened, then closed, like a fish gasping for air. The businessman behind Amara coughed awkwardly, suddenly engrossed in his phone. The young mother's eyes widened, a flicker of admiration crossing her face. The clipboard on the counter, scrawled with the words "FAA Chief Fights Racial Bias," seemed to loom larger, a silent witness to the moment. Amara didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. "I've spent my life proving I belong," she said, her words for Greg but loud enough for the crowd. "Not just in this line, but in every space where people like you assume I don't. You don't get to erase my place because of what you think you see." Her voice trembled not with fear, but with the weight of every time she'd had to fight this battle. The terminal was silent now, save for the distant hum of a departing plane. Greg stammered, "Two didn't know, ma'am." "I'm sorry." But Amara wasn't done. "This isn't about me," she said. "It's about every person you've pushed aside, every assumption you've made without questioning. You're not just checking Pacizi reshaping how people feel about themselves. Do better." She took her boarding pass back, her hand steady, and walked toward the gate, her head high. The crowd parted for her, some nodding in quiet respect, others still processing what they'd witnessed. Greg stood rooted, his radio forgotten, his worldview cracked open. Amara didn't look back. She didn't need to. Her presence had already rewritten the moment, a testament to resilience in the face of bias. As she boarded her flight, Amara thought of her younger self, the girl who dreamed of soaring above prejudice, not just in planes but in life. She'd won this round, not with anger, but with the quiet power of truth. And somewhere in that terminal, a young mother whispered to her child, "See her? She's who you can become." The fight wasn't over, but Amara's stand had planted a seed that could grow into a world where no one is asked to step out of line for being who they are. Thank you for listening. If you find it interesting, please like and subscribe to follow the next stories.